It's Stats Day! Hey everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. And it is, I'm doing my own drum roll, June Stats Day. Woohoo! So just a reminder, all of this information is courtesy of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors, and it is through June 30th of 2024. Just a reminder, I talked about this last time, this data set is all of Dare County, all of Corolla, including four-wheel drive, single family residential only, detached homes, okay? So diving into unit sales. Unit sales year to date in 2024 are down about 6.7%. So unit sales down 6.7 versus 2023. And they're down about 20% June over June. So June 23 over June 24. Over May, they're down just under 6%. Okay, so we're seeing that sales unit trend continue across the board, what we've pretty much been seeing most of the year. Looking back at 2019, they're down about 22%. Okay, so that's kind of how everything's tracking. But the year-to-date only being down 6.7 is a little bit of a bright spot. So that's our units. So how does that translate based on the inventory that we're looking at? So our new listing inventory year-to-date is up 33% versus 2023. And that inventory of those new listings that hit the market in June, though, 33% are already under contract or sold with a nice tight average days on market of 12. Okay, so 33%, about a third of all the new listings that came on in June are already sold or under contract. So we still have that subset, but the majority are still taking longer. In terms of June over May, they were down, new listings were down about 17%. So 17% less new product came on the market in June versus May, but it was up 24% versus what we saw last June. Okay, so overall sales units are down, inventory continues to rise. Okay, so then if we take those two pieces, how do they translate into what's happening with pricing? Good question. So overall year to date, the median sale price sits at $714,000. Okay, remember the data set, and remember this is for single family residential detached. $714,000, which is up 7% from where we sat last year to date, 2023. Okay, so median sale price is up. As an aside, when we talked about the units decline now versus 2019, so we talked about we're selling 22% less units this year to date versus 2019. Here's the interesting thing. I just told you that the year to date median sale price was $714,000. Guess what it was year to date median sale price in 2019? Hold on to your hats. It was $375,000. It's up 90%. 90%. I thought that stat was insane. So anyway, just thought I would share that. Interestingly, the median list price, because they haven't sold yet, the median list price for under contract properties is at $781,500, and for actives, it's at $849,000. So we know the sold is $714,000. We've got the under contracts at $781,000, and then we've got the actives at $849,000. So as I mentioned last month, this just demonstrates the discrepancy that we're having right now between some seller expectations and what the buyers and market are willing to bear. Sold to list ratio overall sits at 98%, and cash offers are pretty consistent, staying in that 29% range, people that paid cash. Year to date in 23, it was 22%, so that's definitely a higher percentage, which makes sense given the interest rates being higher now than they were in 23. So let's go ahead and talk about price reductions and what we're having to do with homes to get them sold. So year to date, 36% of the properties that have sold have done a price reduction. And on average, that price reduction was about 7%, okay, till they got to the final resting price that got them under contract. Sold average to original for those that did a price reduction was 88% versus 95% of asking price. That versus the ones who didn't have to do a price reduction sitting at about 97%, which we talked about above, 97 to 98%. Overall, 44% of the current active inventory has done a price reduction. And so that was up from 42% in May. So we're starting to see a little bit of that. And I feel like this is where we're starting to see as the days on, as the inventory creeps up and the days on market creep up, which we'll talk about in a minute, we're seeing more price reductions. And that will eventually, I think, affect our median sale price. But so far it's not. The next thing I want to talk about is multiple offers. So do we still see activity? It's a question I get asked all the time. Overall, 17% of the properties that have sold year to date indicated that they had received multiple offers, okay? That is down from 25% that we had last year to date, but still 17% are getting it. Again, an interesting thing is even properties that have to do a price reduction can end up in multiple offers. And so far this year, we're seeing 13% of those that did a price reduction still ended up getting into multiples. So once you hit the right price, the market will respond. I know I say that all the time, but that's the truth. Closing cost concessions. So are we seeing more flexibility when we get to closing cost concessions? Year to date, 49% of the sold inventory has done some sort of closing cost concession. So almost half. So that's definitely rising. And then the last thing that we always look at is how long is it taking our inventory to sell? So year to date, our average days on market sits at 53, and it was 54 last year to date. So that's holding pretty steady for our sold inventory. So the pace is really consistent. If I look at the properties that are currently under contract, their average sits at 52. So I would not expect in the near future that days on market for sold inventory metric to change much. So we're still in that 52 to 54 day range. For actives, we're sitting at 84. So again, the stuff that is sitting, that is having to go through price reductions, that stuff is taking right now about 30 days longer on average it's sitting. So that's our June statistics. Believe it or not, guys, we are halfway through the year. So really, I think our big questions remain. Our big questions is, will the decrease in units and the increase in inventory start to affect our pricing? Time will tell. If you want to know the answer, stay tuned. Make sure you're getting this by subscribing every month. And if you have questions or want anything hyperlocal, please reach out, call, text, email. We are always here, and we hope you have a great day. See you soon. Oh, don't forget the newsletter.